Welcome to Looking Within, a podcast for the spiritual explorer in each of us. I'm Julie. I love to explore the inner life using contemplative practices, and I love to help others to do the same. In our time together, I hope you gain a sense of hope, meaning, joy, and love. As a Christian spiritual explorer, I hope to offer some thoughts to help you see God's presence and activity in ever-expanding ways. As you listen, ponder, and experience the divine, feel free to use the spiritual perspective you are most comfortable with in our practice today. Now, let's begin. Earlier this month, we observed Labor Day, the national holiday that in many respects marks the end of summer. Created by the labor movement, the first Labor Day holiday was observed in 1882 and is meant to honor and celebrate the social and economic achievements of the American worker. Work is certainly a major part of many people's lives, and potentially over a period of many years. For those who stay at home, work and tasks certainly come into play in that setting as well. The Labor Day holiday, in its recognition of work and workers, gets me thinking about all of the many things we engage in that fill a day and can make for a busy life. The days fill up quickly when we combine the necessary tasks of keeping up homes and yards, time in the car driving here and there as we transport others and ourselves and run errands, attending events and entertainment opportunities, volunteering and serving others by offering our time and skills. There's no doubt that our lives and bodies are often in motion and on the move. Having said all of that, today I'd have us consider the effect on our minds, spirits, and souls of always being in motion and on the go. Burnout and reaching a point of running on empty are well-known phenomena in our culture. They can actually be used as a badge of honor of sorts, using constant activity to appear important, or to help us feel valuable and living lives that are filled with meaning and purpose. But I suspect we also realize that we pay a holistic price when we're so busy that we can't rest or just plain stop at times to refill and rejuvenate. With that thought in mind, today's episode is entitled, Letting Your Soul Catch Up with Your Body. You've perhaps heard the story in which this quote is found, where an American traveling in Africa hired a guide to lead him through the jungle to a remote village. Partway through the afternoon, the guide stopped and prepared to make camp for the night. The American impatiently asked why they weren't taking advantage of the remaining daylight to reach a place a bit closer to their destination. "We have traveled very fast and must allow time for our souls to catch up with our bodies," replied the guide. The guide had a wisdom that we lose sight of in our culture, where speed, efficiency, and increased volume in production are understandably necessary elements in the work and manufacturing worlds. When it comes to our non-work life, or to moments when it's not necessary to be on the go, I would hold out to you a way of life that finds chances to ratchet back on the speed and busyness. I would hold out to you the chance to go deeper instead of wider in the areas you might pursue in life. I would hold out to you the chance to delve a bit more into your inner self, giving energy and focus to your inner life, as well as to outer pursuits and responsibilities. One of my coworkers shared recently that the previous day had been so busy for him that when he got home at the end of the day, he realized he hadn't really deeply breathed for that entire day. We do that, don't we? Our bodies can handle a lot as we work and care for others, having whole days of moving from one activity or meeting or event to the next, without any margin in between. But eventually, we need to consciously insert moments into each day to let our soul catch up with our body. Then, with a body, soul, and mind that are allowed to slow down a bit, we are enabled to feel holistically whole and balanced, better able to love ourselves, others, and God. Before we move to our moments of quiet contemplation, let me ask you to ponder the ways that you may already use to quiet yourself. Perhaps you find these moments out of sheer exhaustion. For a while, our bodies are young and hardy enough to take a beating day after day until it finally catches up with us. Wherever you find yourself on that continuum, think about the ways you find rest and renewal. A cat nap, perhaps. Exercise. A walk in the woods. Time to read a book. Yoga or meditation. A quiet conversation over coffee. A cup of coffee on the deck in the morning. Having a good bedtime routine that prepares you for a good night's rest. Whatever you found that works for you, that's great. Even if you're in an extremely busy time of life, find these important and necessary moments to let your soul catch up with your body. And if I can offer one more thought before our quiet time, we all likely get that we can sense God and the relationship that we have with the divine when we're traveling at a slower speed, physically, mentally, and spiritually. It is said that silence is God's primary language. Christ's presence, the life force, is there for us, in us, as we live more in our being rather than in our doing. Now, let's enjoy some quiet moments together. In this quiet space and time, I'd invite you to gently close your eyes. I'll sound the Tibetan singing bowl, which will call you to look within. As you're listening to the bowl's reverberations, take 3 deep breaths. Then let your breathing return to normal whenever you'd like. Hear the sound of the bowl now. Let it center you. Let it remind you that God is here with you. I have no prompts for you to ponder today. Instead, use these minutes to just breathe. Let the life force, the presence of Christ, fill you, renew you, and help you remember that you are a human being, not a human doing. First, take 2 breaths, and with audible sighs, like this. Do that with me now. 2 breaths like that. Now, just breathe normally and observe your breath for the remaining minutes. If your thoughts wander, silently say, "Be still." And then let those words go until you need to silently, gently say them again. Just rest in the quiet. And I'll be back with you in about 3 minutes. I'd invite you now to take a few deep breaths in and out, in and out. Let these breaths fill you with strength and energy. Hear me sound the Tibetan singing bowl, and as the sound of the bowl reverberates and slowly dies away, you can gently open your eyes, remaining still for a moment longer. As I mentioned in the opening words, this podcast is meant to help you learn to see God's presence and activity in more and more places. But as we've remembered today, this type of awareness and our ability to develop and enjoy a relationship with God is much more difficult when we're traveling through life constantly in motion. Life can be wonderful when it's full and busy, but we do well to also include some times to become more skilled at allowing our souls to catch up with our bodies. Live as the wonderful human being that you are. Your doing is important, but your being, which can flow out of rest and a connection to the ground of being, to God, is a vital aspect of your spiritual journey. Your being is also what will fuel your presence and impact as you love and help heal a hurting world. Thank you for making time for your inner self today. Whatever you've discovered and experienced, carry that with you in the coming days. You can find more episodes at our website, Gloria-Day, that's DEI.com/lookingwithinpodcast, or subscribe through your favorite podcast app. We'll see you next time.